How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffled Rowlet, and welcome to PokeForward. Today we're going to be taking a look at some Pokemon leaks, rumors, and news. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Now, as you may notice, my voice is actually gone. That's why I can't speak very loudly. I have to speak extremely low, so this is how I'm going to sound throughout the video. Sorry about that. Either way, first post comes to us from Centro Leaks, who are a leak aggregator. They say, new leak, the person who accurately leaked the entire DLC announcement this week is back with more information, which is true. It's only a small thing that I want to talk about. There's some other stuff. But basically, this person came out like before the most recent Pokemon Presents and basically said that they're a programmer that works at a Pokemon outsourcing company and that their English is very poor. So they used a translation software to complete this post. And they said that the DLC is the hidden treasure of Area Zero, which is true. And the hexagons will be present. Version 1.2 includes dressable clothes as a reward for DLC purchases, which is true as well. Will include, well, those two Pokemon that we just saw right there. That's the Paradox Suicune and Virizion. And their typing was also correct. Water, Dragon, Grass, Psychic. A mystery Pokemon with a green mask as well, which is true. Special Terrasol appearance. The third legendary Pokemon is a large blue turtle, which is true, and we're working on graphics enhancement patch for the new Nintendo Switch models that will be released alongside DLC 2, implying there will be a brand new Switch. Now, he made a second post here, which is featured down below. Basically, this is where like he comes in and mentions this. They basically came back with more info. Some Pokemon will gain special Terrasol forms. The new Switch model is actually a next-gen console, the successor, not a revision, and there will be a second DLC in 2024. So here's that post. I am the poster of this post for identification. The original text of this MD5 hash, and then includes the hash, is Suka by 0. I'm not going to leak any more information, I just want to add some clarifications to the previous one. The Hexagon is not the third DLC title, but an element that is displayed many times in the DLC. The special Terrasol appearance I mentioned is a new game mechanic that was not announced in the PV, I guess the preview? Pokemon Presents, I'm guessing. He says some Pokemon will acquire new Terrasol forms, so I'm guessing it's kind of going to be like the Terramax thing that some people have been talking about, that like kind of being what they would do, kind of how we have a Gigantamax Pokemon and Dynamax Pokemon, right? The new Switch model I mentioned is something. Also, as far as I know, DLC 2 is scheduled to be released in early 2024. That's implying that the Part 2 DLC, the Indigo Disc, I think he's implying that that one would come out next year, or it's a second DLC pack. He's not very clear about that. Other contents have already been announced. Sorry for the unclearness from before. But yeah, so again, your guys' thoughts and opinions will be appreciated. And also here he says, it's like Central says, it's honestly not clear if the leaker means that a second DLC will release in 2024 after this, or that the second part of the current DLC will be delayed. We have to wait and see, which is actually interesting because on the website, okay, on the website for the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, it actually says, when it says like when they'll release, it actually specifically points out that the release date is subject to change. So keep in mind, they could literally switch it to whenever they feel like it. So either way, that was one of the few first things that we wanted to talk about. But then we also have loads of other stuff to talk about, like a bunch of theories on where this place is going to be based on, what it's going to be based on. And one of the first things is coming to us from Soul, who says the following. And actually, there's multiple theories, by the way. So I'm going to look through all the ones that are suggesting different ideas for where this place is going to be based on. Because, like I said, there's a lot of theories for what it could be based on. But we'll see what we got here. We start with this one. Game Freak are notoriously famous for mixing stories and cultures. Does this Japanese tale sound like any stories based right off the coast of Iberia? Atlantis, a civilization submerged underwater, which leads to the image of the map in DLC 2. That's not just a place, but a whole submerged land. I'm not saying Atlantis will have much lore-wise, but that is where this entire DLC concept started from, as Atlantis was the codename for Area Zero. And this is the hidden treasure of Area Zero. Most likely this submerged land is part of / connected to Paldea / AZ, as the Blueberry Academy is a sister school suggested to be close to the mainland of Paldea. Exactly. So initially people were saying like, oh, this DLC is like going to take place like in that Japanese region. It's going to be super far away. But even the Japan region, and especially the second part of DLC, this academy, is most likely going to be that, top part of the map, at least as far as I can tell. And he continues on further and you know, kind of relates this back to one of these Japanese tales about the indigo disc Pokemon, which we can open that post up as well. And here you can also see Dark Fox says, I think the new map looks a lot like a part of the Netherlands. If you look closely to the thin blue lines of the map and the rivers in the Netherlands, which, yeah, sure, you can make that connection maybe. I don't know if that's specifically what they would base it on. But there's a lot of possible ways they could have based it on. Remember, we are talking about Game Freak here, so it's not like they have to do this one for one. They can do a lot of different ways of trying this. So here's what he says. The indigo disc almost certainly is based on the Japanese fairy tale Urashima Taro. The turtle of this is depicted like a Terrapagos, and it takes the protagonist to the palace of the dragon sea god, which is a deep under the sea. There are so many connections to Scarlet and Violet, especially the theme of time and dreams. The moral, the character, the plot, and the important plot items could all be a part of the Scarlet and Violet DLC plot. So I'll dive into these ideas more in the future. You can read a great synopsis as a whole on the tale down below. Again, yeah, there's a whole like breakdown on this. He says, also check this thread out for how Terrapagos design connects to this tale and to a minnow game turtle. That's a lot of good stuff in this. So yeah, again, bunch of posts you guys can check out. I'm not going to go into them right now. We will return to them in the future. But now let's look at some of the more like suggested theories for where this place could be based on. Yeah, for example, Ami in Japan, or at Japan, who says the DLC map comes from Akita, Aomori, and Iwate in Japan. This area right here, suggesting that it could be based on this specific part of the literal map, which, I don't know, personally, I'm not really on board for that one, because I do have this one as a better example of, like, I mean, I do think it's obviously going to have Japanese connections, but what is interesting is that on the, this is a really big one, by the way, but apparently on the website, for Pokemon, what do you call it, for Pokemon PokeLeaks, sorry, on the PokeLeaks Reddit, they actually noticed something, which is Norotio is confirmed to be, or Norotio, by the way, if you're wondering, that's the name of the Paldea, sorry, the new region in the first DLC. That's its name in Spanish, but it's confirmed to be the northeast hidden part of Paldea. This is from the actual website, where it says that the DLC, you know, is going to take place in that northeastern, al noreste de Paldea, so the northeast of Paldea, which is really interesting. So it's from the Spanish website, and it seems like the new region in place, Norotio, or Kitakami in English, is just the northeast part of Paldea, the hidden part next to the Mabu Forest, so call it Andorra, South Kalos, or whatever. Yeah, we're not going to literal Kalos. It's something I've been saying for a long time. If we do go to anywhere close to Kalos, it's not going to be actual Kalos. It'll be something different. But nonetheless, I thought it was important to mention that too. Then there's also this theory right here from Uminotami, who says that the Blueberry Academy is located in Wellington, New Zealand. Drill a hole in Madrid, the great creature of Paldea. Since there is already a hole, you should drill further, carefully straight, then you can face Wellington. The two have one thing in common, lakes. And NZ Crystal, well, I guess I'm not sure if that's really a good connection, but suggesting that that's what it could be based on. I mean, it is a fair, interesting point, I guess, but I don't know. It seems it could be a little, you know, it could be a little far-fetched, but nonetheless, let's move on to the next thing. Now, this one is actually pretty massive, but there was apparently a poster for the teal mask in Scarlet and Violet this whole time, literally in the background here, next to, I think the like where you go to take on Larry in, Medali. In Medali, there's actually a poster for that place right there. Like it's literally right here. A poster for the 3 legendaries and whatnot. It's like literally hinted right in the background there, which is really crazy, man. And if you want a better look, you guys can actually see it here. It actually shows it off. The reference to the turquoise mask is found in, well, you know, Medali, I'm guessing, next to the restaurant. And you guys can see, there it is. It's really random that they put that, like, you know, that's what I mean. They always love, you know, doing these kinds of things. They always like, you know, just kind of leaving little hints and stuff all over these games. And I think it's pretty cool. I'm personally a fan of that. But yeah, next up is a pretty big thing. But according to Matt, who is a data miner, apparently a lot of DLC textures, some Scarlet and Violet DLC textures that were not scrubbed from version 1.2 updates, have actually showed up. So he's able to like find a bunch of DLC stuff that they didn't remove from the latest update, which is interesting. And there's also like clearly references to the festival gear, like, you know, outfits and gear and posters and stuff that, you know, that will be in this game. Again, sorry, my voice is totally gone. And here's also some more like, objects and also crowd NPC type people, I guess, for battles and stuff. But yeah, really interesting that they just kind of have a bunch of this stuff that's kind of still in there, even when it's not supposed to be. But again, I digress. Next big thing is this right here. There's new strings and structures added to Scarlet Violet's 1.2 update, hinting at something interesting. Inside the DLC.dat text file, we see lines about receiving DLC items, apparel, and even Pokemon. So it says here, you'll need to save your game to receive your item. Is that okay? You'll need to save your game to receive the apparel. You need to save your game to get the items, etc. Basically, it's interesting. It's a lot of that. A mysterious new data structure was added in this serialization scheme to store DLC gift Pokemon data. See below for a C# translation of the structure. Types and field names by Game Freak, comments by me. So the comments would be everything in the, like, if you're wondering what he means by comments, is every time like you see the really dark green text, that's something he's done. Like when you do the // that's when he leaves a comment that doesn't actually do any coding. It's not a code, it's just like text, right? To just tell you what that code means. But he says here, you got species, you got Terra type, you got shiny, you got random, flawless, specified flawless count, IV spec, EV spec, nature stat, and default manual. It seems like there will be some sort of external generator to create DLC data, and these DLC gifts handled separately from mystery gift might be player customizable prior to receipt in game. Unsure how accessible this DLC feature will be. So we'll have to wait and see. It's some sort of new feature that will be in the game. That's something to do with gift Pokemon of sorts, something like that. Some kind of gifts, but we'll have to wait and see what it actually is like. So yeah, for now, let's just leave it at that, I guess. We move on to the next thing, which is it possible that this brand new legendary Pokemon, the one in the first DLC, is it possible that it is actually this guy? You guys may remember this is the weird Wolfman Pokemon from back in Gold and Silver. This was like a beta version of a Pokemon that never ended up happening. So is it possible that they finally brought this back with this new Pokemon? It does kind of look similar. It does have the similar eyes and everything. So yeah, it's possible it is the beta Pokemon. I mean, it does feel like it, right? So I want to leave it at that. And now let's move on to another really cool thing that Amaryatesh actually found, which I think is really freaking sick. So he says, it is unnoticed by many. But again, the idea of Paradox Pokemon is taken from the anime. If Paradox Pokemon are created by imagination, and Suicune is one of that, then another Johto legendary beast was the first Paradox Pokemon created by Molly's imagination. Which, yes, again, the movies and the games don't really connect, but I do think that the Paradox ID must have probably come somewhat from this third movie. If you guys remember the third movie, Entei basically, or I don't even really know, I guess the unknowns, right? The unknowns kind of do a bunch of weird, wacky shit, and crystals show up, and this girl is able to, like, imagine anything, and those things will show up, like Entei. She imagines Entei, and there's Entei, right? And she turns things into these crystallized, structures and stuff. And yeah, it's a bit crazy. And then there's Ash's mom being kidnapped and shit. It is really weird, okay? It's pretty wacky. But it's one of the coolest movies. And interestingly, it has crystals and it has imagination used to create Pokemon. Like literally to create Pokemon, which is oddly similar to the creation of these Pokemon right here. It is pretty crazy, man. And in this case, I think it was the unknowns that caused it. Like, it was the unknown Pokemon, the unknowns that caused it. This is very curious, very peculiar to say the least. But yeah, I just want to hear what you guys think about that. And also, there is a bit of a conspiracy theory that the shape of the Paldea region is literally in the shape of the third legendary. I mean, if you actually look at it in a really messed up way, I can see it. Like, I can actually see what they mean. Like, I see what they're talking about. I see the turtle, which I hate that I can see it. It is weird. Even Moot here actually, like, posted a version of it, which is just, yeah. Man, the turtle was there the whole time. We just didn't see it. We just did not notice it, which is crazy. But, yeah, I just thought I would mention that. That's going to be pretty much it for this video, guys. My throat is killing me, as you may notice. I'm so sorry if this video doesn't sound too good. I tried my best. I was going to do this video yesterday, but my voice was even worse yesterday. And as you may notice, it's breaking nonstop. It's because I've genuinely lost my voice. I'm talking with the back of my chest. I'm not talking with my regular voice. I'm talking with the back of my chest to be able to, like, talk normal. But yeah, either way, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.